An interesting weekend for the Colts, and yet again another frustrating weekend in Bloomington for the Hoosiers. Hey, but don't worry, I got you covered on everything you need to know. And they're up by 3. Denver shot 4th and 1. Russell Wilson has his pass batted down by Stephon Gilmore, and the Colts secure the win. In the second, Jake Moody's field goal is booming blocked. Score is tied at 10. Later in the second, Charles Campbell's field goal is also blocked. Serious karma right there for the Hoosiers. Final from Memorial Stadium, 31-10. Michigan wins, leaving the Hoosiers in the dust, advancing to 6-0 on the season. Next, the Colts head home to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday. And for the Indiana Hoosiers, the clock is ticking for a bowl game. The biggest element of the Hoosiers' flawed 2-10 season last year was injuries, and it might be starting again. On Friday, the Hoosiers' offensive line took a big blow when Matthew Bedford tore his ACL. He's been a key player for IU since 2019 and now will miss the rest of the season. Parker Hanna, the transfer from West Texas A&M, who replaced Bedford on Friday, will get another shot at that right tackle position. Tom Allen said it's his spot. He played 44 snaps on Friday and had lots of positives, also adding Gwen Parks and Samantha Contra, a little game preview for y'all. Hoosiers about to take on the Hilltoppers, and I mean, man, the Hilltoppers are going to come in today with summer bench from last season after coming so close to knocking out the Hoosiers 33-31. Do you think it's going to be a dogfight like it was last year?
I definitely think.
Tom Allen talked this week about how he thinks that the Hilltoppers have one of the best offenses in the nation. What do you think IU has to do defensively to put a stop to that?
Yeah.
The Cincinnati Bearcats ended the Hoosiers' 3-0 streak tonight here at Nippert Stadium with a final score of 45-24. During the season so far, the Hoosiers have struggled on both sides of the ball, but still managing to slip away with the win in the second half of all games so far this season, but not tonight against the Bearcats. They put up some explosive plays, not allowing the Hoosiers to even make a chance to come back in the second. Welcome back to Sports Served. I'm your host, Gwen Parks, and joining me today, Zeke Shapiro, Garrett Newman, Hayden Smith, and we're talking Big Ten football. I mean, loaded conference, great teams, bunch of schools. But let's start with the East. We saw Michigan in the playoffs last year, Ohio State dominating, a lot of teams with high expectations. So I want to know some top 3 predictions for this season, Hayden.
Yeah.
And I know we talked about this a little earlier. Your top 3 differs a little bit. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I agree on the. And don't even get me started on Northwestern.
Absolutely. And with Northwestern, we got to talk about some bottom projections. I mean, the team went 3-9 last year. And also, Indiana, if you were a fan, you were probably crying yourself to sleep during conference play last year. And also, we got to talk about Nebraska, man. Firing their head coach like 1 week into the season. Come on. What are some bottom predictions you got for us? Illinois-Iowa game. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat during that game, or just laying in bed tweeting about my opinions. But they had their backup quarterback, no Tommy DeVito after the first half, and then their backup kicker. I just was in awe that that was their first win since 2008 against the team. But for our next questions, we got to get started into. I mean, Maryland's 5-2 on the season, but I think that they deserve more recognition. He brought them to their winning season last year and got them to their first bowl game since 2016. So, I mean, that's going to be my must pick. And I don't know what's going on in Indiana right now. I know Tom Allen is making some coaching changes, but I don't see it working out for the Hoosiers. So my pick for that game is going to be the Maryland Terps. And I'm Gwen Parks.
Gwen, it's fall here in Bloomington. The weather's lovely. Football is here. Basketball starting up soon. But I heard you had a rough weekend.
I mean, I was in Cincinnati, and fans were loud. My ears might be still ringing, but.
Well, your ears are going to ring for a long time. Football, still plenty more weeks. And on top of that, basketball, Assembly Hall. You know it gets loud there.
I do.
Anyway.
The Indiana women's soccer team had a tough week with back-to-back losses to Minnesota and Wisconsin. Last Thursday, the Hoosiers kicked off Big Ten play on the road against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. In the first half, the Hoosiers had some shots on goal, but couldn't get past Minnesota goalkeeper Megan Pleshko. Indiana softball traveled to sunny St. Pete Clearwater for the NFCA Leadoff Classic this past weekend. The Bats were hot in their first game of the season as Indiana jumped off to an early 3-0 lead against Pitt. After the Panthers tied the game. Thanks, guys. Yesterday was a huge moment for your team, but you said you haven't done anything unless you've taken a series. Now you've won the series against Ohio State and continued the longest win streak in your program's history. What is the initial reaction?
Well, what we've done is get off to a hot.
How do you grow and build off a fantastic win like this? What is your team capable of, in your opinion?
Well, my job is to set the edge and help
kind of confidence are you hoping your team brings into set 3 today?
I just think it's a really good.
Our two freshmen, Melissa and Candela, are making strides today. What makes them so effective from a coaching perspective?
Lauren McQueen only allowing 4 hits today. What is her mentality that keeps her going?
What is the conversation going to be with the team to get the ball out of IU territory and take some pressure off Jamie Gerstenberg?
Well, to get open.
The weather condition with the rain and the field, and that adds a new element to the game. How well equipped is your team going to be to settle in and focus during the second half?
You secured your 6th goal of the season in the second half. Take us through that moment to extend the lead for your team.
Nicole, how does it feel to not only be produced once, but twice this season?
I mean, it feels great. Grayson Radcliffe's parents, Chad and Beth, how did it feel to go down on the field and watch her final senior recognition?
Oh, wow. It was awesome.
Historic achievement.
Thanks, guys. We're definitely gearing up for an exciting one here at Andy Moore Field. Due to bad weather, Friday's game was postponed and resumed yesterday, where we saw the Indiana Hoosiers secure their 19th consecutive win, marking the longest win streak in their program's history. However, today we are making up for lost time with a doubleheader. And the big question is not about the weather today, guys. It's about whether or not Indiana can keep this win streak alive.
Thanks, Gwen. And yeah, Hayden, part of the reason Indiana has been able.
Thanks, guys. Well, the last time that you saw the Hoosiers and the Tigers play was back in August of 2021, and the Tigers walked away with the win. The Tigers are coming into today after a weekend in ACC territory where they struggled against Virginia and Louisville. The IU-Purdue rivalry is historic here in Indiana. People from all over the state tune into whatever sport these two schools are playing. I asked senior forward from Indiana, Aleska Golbe, yesterday how meaningful this game was to her, and she told me that when she came to Indiana from Latvia, she didn't know what a state rivalry was or even why this Purdue game was so big. But head coach Terry Morin told her why it was so important by simply saying, "This is our state, not Purdue's."